Hi friends, in last video we have seen keyword arguments. So we can pass the parameter name and value in a functions. So this is called as a keyword arguments. So now in this video we have to learn about default arguments. So here you can see default arguments are functions parameters that takes a predefined value if no value is passed when the function is called. Means default arguments are functions parameters that takes a predefined value if no value is passed when the function is called. Means at the declaring time of a functions you can declare a value and you can call the functions directly. So whatever default predefined value this will called. Why use default parameters or arguments? Make functions simpler to call. Avoid repeating common values. Improve reliability and flexibility. Basic example you can see here def grid function name and name equals to guest. So we are declaring functions here, defining functions. That time we passing this value. So means this is a default value because at the creating time of a function we are passing value. So here you can see print hello name, and if you just call the greet function name, so automatically this will call hello guest. But if you pass greet Gautam this value, then output will be hello Gautam. So if you not called the value of this guest, this automatically call this default value. So that's the way we can define the default arguments or default value. Here our guest is the default value. So let's see this example in our VS Code. Create a one more file, default arguments, default underscore args dot py. Now we are defining one function, right? Def. Suppose here is a greet functions, greet, and already they are passing a value, that is the name is equals to guest. So this is a default value because at the declaring time function if you passing the value, this is called as a default value. And now just print hello name. Now call the function create and just call the function. Now you can see we are not passing anything here, right? So default value should be called hello guest. Just run the program and check. Here you can see hello guest. Why? Because this calling as a default value. We are not passing anything here, but you can pass this name as well. So here you can see if you are not passing, then we'll only call the default value. Here you can pass just like I am passing my name, right? Now check both output. Here you can see first is a hello guest, second is a hello Gautam. So this is called as a default value. So if you not pass anything in a function, this automatically call this default value. So this is called as the default arguments as well. So you can pass the multiple default arguments just like def add a b equals to 10, print a plus b. So you can pass the multiple value as well. This is only single value, but you can pass this a and b at the declaring time, and after that you can pass the value. Rules for default arguments. Default argument must come after non-default arguments. Here we see def1 a equals to 5 and b. Why this is wrong? Because default arguments come after a non-default arguments. So b is a non-default. Because why? Because we are assigning value. Just for that this is argument. This is just parameter. Here you can see the correct way. Def1 a b equals to 5 and pass. Just see this example in our VS Code. Just I am commenting this. Def, and what is the function name? Fun is the function name, and default name is a, suppose a equals to 5 and b, and just give pass. So here you can see this showing a error, right? Just run and check. Here you can see the error parameter without a default follows parameter with a default, means you have to declare this parameter after the default values. So this error is saying you have to pass the first the default value first, and then after you can pass the argument. Just see def 1 b p comma a equals to 5, here colon. Now see, here is no error. Why? There is the rules. What is the rules? Default argument must come after non-default value arguments. So this is a non-default, b is a non-default, and a is a default argument because we are assigning the value. So that's why this error is not showing, and here you can see error is showing. This rules is very important. So you can pass only default value after the non-default arguments. So that's all about these rules. So in real life example, you can see, suppose def order food item and quantity equals to 1. So this is a default value. Quantity 1, always this is a default value. Print f order equals to order colon quantity and item. So always this quantity is showing 1 if you not passed, right? So order food burger, automatically this fetch 1 and burger. So always quantity is a 1 if you not passed, and order food pizza and 2, so 2 and pizza. So quantity is 1 is a default argument, and it's very important in your any programming language. Default value normally is very essential. You have to pass the default value in any functions. Important tip: mutable default arguments. Avoid using a mutable object like a list as a default argument. Right? So add item is equals to empty item. So it should be like a default arguments, mutable. Items dot append item, print items. And this is unexpected result. So correct way is to define. Here you can see dip add items equals to none. So you cannot pass the empty, right? Here you can see you are passing empty. So default argument says it's like you have to declare the value. That is a none is a correct way. If items is none, then items equals to empty and items dot append item and print item. So summary: default arguments provide fallback values, reduce the required parameters, must be placed after required arguments, avoid mutable defaults. So that's all about the default arguments. So just one rule is a default argument must come after non-default arguments, and default values is called when you not passed anything, but you pass the value, then this will replace the value. So that's all about the default arguments in a Python. So thank you for watching this video.